Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Sunday, March the 21st. We got a 6-game Sunday slate. We're going to break it all down team by team like we always do. Just before we do get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do live stream. I'm not sure yet if I'll be live streaming this afternoon. It's kind of to be determined. I wasn't able to stream on Saturday. Not sure yet if I'll be live Sunday or not. But if I do go live, it'll probably be around 4 Eastern time. So check my YouTube channel then if you're free Sunday afternoon. You want to check out the live stream. I may be live Sunday afternoon. Not sure yet. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at Sunday's slate. We'll start off with the Wizards and Nets game. And right out of the gate, this is a very, very appealing game. This is one that should be super high scoring, should be played at a really fast pace. Right now it does have a 245 total, which is like so far ahead of every other game. Looking at just the totals right now, the only game or the closest total next to this one is Chicago and Detroit at 217.5. We don't have a total yet in the Dallas-Portland game. That one will probably be higher than 217, I'm sure. But yeah, this is clearly a game we're going to want to have some exposure to, and I think it's kind of easy. Like, it's really just playing the stars in this game for me. I really don't have much interest in any of the secondary pieces. Like, this Wizards team, I've been saying it basically every video. Like, I just don't play any of these other Wizards guys. It's just Westbrook and Beal for me. Like, Rui, at his price tag, I don't really have much interest in. He's shown some flashes of, good games this year. He still is playing big minutes, which I guess is good to see. In a good matchup like this, if we get 38 minutes from Rui, sure, he could give you a good score, but at 5,800, I don't want to pay that price tag for Rui. Same with all these other guys, so it's really Westbrook and Beal. Westbrook at 10,700, in a matchup like this, I think has a ton of upside. Now, on this slate, there are some other studs we can look to. We do have James Harden on the other side of this game, who I really like. But I think Westbrook, is one of the better pay-up options. We know Westbrook's going to go out there and stuff the stat sheet, basically every night. Gives you that triple-double upside. Has 60, 70. We've seen him put up 80 fantasy points twice in his last 4 games. Like, he's got big-time upside. I think straight up, I would rather have James Harden, for just a little bit more. But Westbrook's definitely a solid option. And Bradley Beal, I have some interest in as well. Bradley Beal, I'm not normally as interested in Beal as I am Westbrook, just because Beal, he's a lot more scoring dependent. You kind of look at the game log and you can just see that. He had 43 points last game, but he only had 53 DK points, just 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Like, he doesn't get the peripherals like Russell Westbrook does, which limits his upside a little bit, but still, Bradley Beal is an incredibly good scorer. He's a guy that can go out there and, drop 40 real-life points any game in a good matchup like this, fast-paced game. Like, I would not be surprised to see another 50-plus DK point game from Bradley Beal. So Westbrook and Beal, I think, are really good options. I'm not really looking to anyone else on Washington, though. Alex Len, he's been starting at center. The minutes they fluctuate from game to game. I just don't think I'm going to be taking a shot on Alex Len. There's just other plays I'd rather get to. So we can talk about the Brooklyn side now. And for Brooklyn, really it's the same thing. It's James Harden and Kyrie Irving and not too much else. We'll note that Blake Griffin, he is listed as probable for the Nets, so he is expected to make his Nets debut today. He's probable. I don't think that's going to impact Harden or Kyrie too much. I think it does impact guys like Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan. I really don't want to go to those guys anyway. Blake Griffin himself in his first game with the team, I feel like Blake Griffin's going to be better with this Brooklyn team than he was with Detroit, just because he's in a better offense. Harden and Kyrie can, get him open looks. At 5K, I guess if you want to take a shot on him, you could. It's such a good matchup. I would not be surprised to see a good game from Blake Griffin, but it is worrisome that he hasn't played in an actual NBA game in over a month. I'm sure he's going to be on some sort of minutes limit, so really tough to go there unless we get word that he's not limited. So I think it's just Harden and Kyrie for me. Harden, in my opinion, I think he's the top stud option on this slate. 10,900 on DK. Love him on DK. There's enough value to get him in. Love him on Yahoo as well at $55. He is definitely the guy I do want to try and pay up for today. And, Harden, he burned me Friday night. I'm sure he burned a lot of you guys as well. Friday night slate, there was a ton of value. It was very easy to pay up for a lot of studs. I jammed in James Harden on Friday night slate. He got into some foul trouble, just had a terrible game. 34 minutes, only 41 DK points. I'm not going to let that scare me off of Harden today. I think Harden, once again, is a top play. Such a good matchup, such a great game environment. This feels like one of those games where we're going to get, a big triple-double from James Harden. 65, 70 DK points, very likely for him. So really do like Harden. I think Kyrie is also someone you can look to. Now, straight up, I think I'd rather have Bradley Beal over Kyrie, but Kyrie's definitely, a strong shooting guard option if you can pay up at the shooting guard position. He's someone I would for sure be looking to. But I think it's these two guys for me from Brooklyn. Blake Griffin, if he's not limited, could maybe be viable, but that does it for the Nets. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, Toronto and Cleveland. So on Toronto today, there really isn't much I like here. This team is basically fully healthy now. They have everyone back. Van Vliet's back. Siakam is back. OG is back. So where all these guys are priced at, Fred Van Vliet, I think, probably looks the most appealing at 7,600. I think most games he should be the most expensive. He basically was not limited, since coming back. He did play 32 minutes against Detroit, and then last game against Utah played 41 minutes. So Van Vliet's good to go to play his normal minutes. I think the same could be said for Siakam as well. Last game, Siakam, he got 33 minutes, got 30 the game before that. At 7,200, that does feel maybe a little too cheap for Siakam. 7,600 maybe feels a little bit too cheap for Van Vliet. But I really don't like many of these Raptors today. I just think there's more appealing teams. I just don't want to be heavy on these Raptors guys. I think, mixing in Lowry or Van Vliet or Siakam, as a last piece in is totally fine with me. I would definitely have these guys in my player pool if I was playing a lot of lineups. But if I'm only playing one lineup today, which I have been doing, I just don't think I'm going to get to any Raptors in my one lineup. So looking at the Cleveland side and talking about the Cavs, it's kind of the same thing for Cleveland. There really isn't much I like here. Now, Larry Nance, I will mention, he was very popular on Friday night slate. With Kevin Love still out, I thought at 5,200, Larry Nance was one of the clear plays at that price point. And he didn't have that good of a game, only 21 DK points in 34 minutes, but he did play a ton of minutes again. His price rose to 5,800. He's still viable with Kevin Love out, but now that his price is where it is, I don't think he's nearly as good of an option as he was on the last slate, especially because there are so many other better plays today. The Lakers are going to be a team we really want to focus on. No LeBron, no AD. There's a lot that I like from the Lakers. There's guys, on the Lakers that are priced around Larry Nance that I would rather play. But if I was going to play anyone on Cleveland, I think it would be Larry Nance. I'm not going to look to anyone else on this Cleveland team, though. I think this Toronto-Cleveland game is probably the least appealing on the slate, just in my opinion. So looking at the next one, Chicago and Detroit. On the Bulls today, there's a couple guys that interest me here. Zach LaVine, as a lower-owned tournament option, I think makes some sense. Now, me personally, if I'm paying up at shooting guard, I'd rather play Kyrie. I'd rather play Bradley Beal in a better game environment, in a better matchup, but we know Zach LaVine has a ton of upside. He's someone that you can always consider paying up for. I don't see really anyone on Detroit slowing LaVine down here. He did have a big game earlier this year against the Pistons. 8,500, very reasonable price tag for LaVine. His price has started to come down, after he was priced around, close to 10K for a while there. He was priced at like 96, 9,700. He's down to 8,500 now, which I think makes him, look a lot more appealing. Now, Thaddeus Young, I actually do have a good amount of interest in. I love this matchup for Thaddeus Young. Detroit's just been a team that's, been getting killed by bigs this year. We've seen centers have huge games against the Pistons. I'm pretty sure they've allowed the most fantasy points to centers overall in the season. And now that Thad Young is starting, I do have a lot more interest in him just because his minutes have been, a little bit higher with him in the starting lineup. Just like the last two games that have been competitive, you've seen 31, 28 minutes from Thaddeus Young. If tonight's game is close against Detroit, I think it's likely he plays 28 to 30 minutes. He's a very productive player when he does get the minutes. He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything, can contribute in all categories, can get those defensive stats. He did have a really good game against Detroit in limited minutes. Earlier this year, only 23 minutes against them, but did have 36 fantasy points. So, yeah, definitely have some interest in Thaddeus Young. I would say he's probably my favorite play overall from the Bulls today. Lauri Markkanen, 5,500, that does feel a little bit too cheap. He's been really bad lately, but definitely a solid matchup for Markkanen. I don't mind him at 5,500. Satoransky, he's starting, still playing around 30 minutes a night. You can maybe go to him at 4,500, but I don't think he's nearly as good of a value as he was, a couple days ago when he was 3,200, 3,600. It's definitely a little bit different now that he's 4,500. But I would say overall, my favorite plays from Chicago, probably Thaddeus Young, number one. I have some interest in Zach LaVine. I have some interest in Satoransky. Markkanen's fine as well, but I think that does it for this Bulls team. Now, looking at the Pistons today, the Pistons are a team I have some interest in just because it is a pretty good matchup here against the Bulls. We know this Bulls team, they play fast. They haven't really been that good defensively this season. Jeremy Grant at 7,300. Again, I think he's more of a lower-owned tournament play. There's guys priced around Jeremy Grant, at the forward spot that I would just rather play over him. But the matchup is really good, does have plenty of upside here. Now, he has been, insanely inconsistent lately, and he's been just really bad lately. 4 straight games with less than 38 DK points. 3 of those 4 games have been less than 30 fantasy points. Like, Jeremy Grant has been struggling, but, he shot the ball terribly last game. Obviously could have had a better game had he shot the ball, better. 7,300 in a good matchup. I don't mind Jeremy Grant today. DeLon Wright, though, he's definitely my favorite guy from Detroit today. At 5,900 on DK, I do like that price quite a bit. I think you could go to him on Yahoo as well. There's some other guys that are cheaper that I would rather have, but $24 for DeLon Wright, I think he's definitely someone you can consider on Yahoo as well. But I really do like DeLon Wright here. Been getting the minutes lately. We've seen him play, pretty big minutes these last few games. Only played 28 last game, but I would assume, that was just a little bit of an outlier. I think most nights we're going to get, low to mid 30s minutes from DeLon Wright. And at 5,900, if he's going to be playing, 33, 34 minutes against this Bulls team that does play fast, there's plenty of upside here for DeLon Wright. We've seen him put up big games when he does get the big minutes. At 5,900, he does still feel a little bit too cheap for this really good matchup. So do have a good amount of interest in DeLon Wright. I don't see too much else, though, on this Detroit team that I want to go to. Like Saddiq Bey, just been so inconsistent this year. He'll have those games where he puts up a big game, then he'll just go out there and completely dud. 5,600, that just feels too expensive for me. I don't want to really play Saddiq Bey at this price point. If he was cheaper, I'd maybe take a shot on him, but not at 5,600. Josh Jackson coming off the bench, you could maybe look to. Probably going to play around 30 minutes off the bench. He's been pretty productive this year on a point-per-minute basis. Like I said, good matchup, so don't mind him. But I don't see too much else I like on Detroit. I will mention Frank Mason. He did have a really good game last game. He started that game against Toronto and was just really disappointing. Only 10 DraftKings points in 31 minutes. He did start again on Friday, I believe that was. He had 31 DK points in 26 minutes, had a much better game on Friday in the starting lineup. We do already know that Rodney McGruder and Wayne Ellington are both out today. So I am assuming that Frank Jackson does start once again. If you need a value point guard, he's an option you can look to at 4K. I would just be a bit hesitant on Frank Jackson just because he's normally not a guy that I really look to target just because he's not that productive of a point-per-minute player, especially when he's not, playing point guard, which in this case he's not going to be. He's going to be playing, shooting guard alongside Wright. But at 4K, he's still pretty cheap. You could definitely look there. Overall, though, DeLon Wright, I think, is my favorite play from the Pistons today. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, though, the Knicks and the Sixers. So on the Sixers today, we do have to watch the status of Ben Simmons. So this is a really big injury. Ben Simmons was not on the injury report heading into Saturday, and then we got word that he was probable for Saturday's game, and then he got ruled out. So kind of weird. Simmons went from not being on the injury report to probable to out Saturday. I'm assuming that he just, kind of sat out Saturday so that he could play today. This is a huge injury, though. If Ben Simmons plays, him and Tobias Harris I like a lot. Now, Tobias Harris had a massive game Saturday with Ben Simmons out, kind of as expected. Only played 30 minutes because of a blowout, but still had 61 DraftKings points, nearly had a triple-double. I would absolutely love Tobias Harris if Ben Simmons is out again. Obviously, we know that Joel Embiid remains out. If Ben Simmons plays, I still think Tobias Harris is a solid option. Ben Simmons himself would become very appealing at 9K. I had a lot of interest in Simmons heading into Saturday's slate. Obviously, he got ruled out, so I got off of him. But definitely would like Simmons and Harris quite a bit if Simmons is good to go. But if Simmons is out, Harris becomes probably one of the best plays overall on the slate. And then Shake Milton, if Simmons is out again, love Shake Milton. He would be a top play for me at 5,300. Started on Saturday, played 36 minutes, had 33 DK points. I'd expect similar minutes for him today, similar production if Simmons remains out. So if Simmons plays, I think my main targets from Philly are going to be Simmons and Harris. If Simmons is out again, though, my main targets will be Harris and Milton. And if you play on Yahoo, I think Milton is still viable over there, even if Simmons plays. Shake Milton's only $11. Like I could definitely see playing him on Yahoo at $11, even if Ben Simmons is in. Just because with Seth Curry out, there's going to be more minutes available for Shake Milton. If Simmons plays, you're not going to get 36 minutes from Shake Milton, but you're very likely to get 24, 25 minutes. And Milton's been productive this year on a point-per-minute basis when he does get the minutes. So potentially a lot to like from the Sixers team, depending on what happens with the injuries. If Ben Simmons remains out, there's a couple guys I'm going to be very heavy on. Tobias Harris, Shake Milton for sure. Could maybe target Danny Green, could maybe target Korkmaz, but those will be the two guys I would definitely look to. And then if Simmons plays, I really do like Ben Simmons, and I would like Tobias Harris quite a bit as well. Harris obviously will get a massive bump, though, if Simmons sits again. But we can go ahead and move on to the Knicks side. So the Knicks are another team we have to keep an eye on in terms of injuries. So right now, we already know that Derrick Rose is out, but Emmanuel Quickley, Mitchell Robinson, and Elfrid Payton are all questionable. So Mitchell Robinson will have to wait and see. It says right here that he has been cleared to play, but the Knicks are waiting to see how he responds in practice before making a decision. So Robinson probably going to play, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Quickley and Payton, though, are both questionable. With Robinson returning, that basically kills any value that Nerlens Noel had. Like Nerlens Noel is basically out of play now with Mitchell Robinson back. But the big injuries, I think, in my opinion, are definitely Quickley and Payton. So if Quickley and Payton are playing, I'm probably not going to look to too much on this Knicks team. maybe Julius Randle you could play at 10K, but his price on this slate, I'd rather just play Westbrook. I'd rather play Beal. I'd rather play, Harden. There's other studs I'd rather get to over Julius Randle, but I think if Quickly and Payton remain out, that's definitely a bump for Julius Randle. We saw him have a huge assist game last game with both those guys out, and it kind of makes sense because Julius Randle is someone that can handle the ball. He can, kind of be a facilitator. He has 17 assists in that game, had a triple-double. Even at 10K, I would actually like Julius Randle quite a bit if Payton and Quickly are both out again. And then Alec Burks, we actually saw him start at point guard on I can't remember if he started at point guard, but I think he did start. I think they started Ntilikina, but they did start Burks last game when Payton and Rose were both out, or Payton and Quickly were both out. He did play 33 minutes, was very productive with 41 DK points. Even with his price up to 5,800, I would still like Alec Burks quite a bit today if Quickly and Payton are both out again. So a lot to kind of take in from this Knicks team. We're just going to have to wait and see with the injuries. If all these guys are in, there isn't too much I like here, but if Quickly and Payton are both out, I do really like Randle, and I do really like Alec Burks again. Two guys I'd definitely be targeting, but I think that does it for this Knicks team. We can go ahead and move on to the next game, Dallas and Portland. So on Dallas today, I think it's kind of pretty easy to break down this team. It's really just Luka and Porzingis for me. Luka at 11K, I do like quite a bit. On this slate, I'd probably rather play Harden, but Luka is someone you can look to for sure. I'm pretty sure that Portland, they played last game. Yeah, they played Portland last game. Luka had a really good game, as you would expect. 64 Draftkings points in 39 minutes. As long as this game stays close, we know we're getting 36, 38 minutes from Luka. I feel like the upside's a little bit higher on James Harden, just in a better matchup. But I would say outside of the Washington-Brooklyn game, this is probably the second most appealing game on the slate in terms of pace, in terms of total. So you could definitely look to Luka today. He is a strong pay-up option for sure. I think I just do give the slight edge to James Harden. Now Porzingis, he's just been really, really bad lately. Like, it's really hard to trust Porzingis at this point. He's a tough guy to roster right now. We haven't really seen a good game from him in quite some time. I mean, he's had 3 straight games with only 33, 31, and 26 DK points. He's still getting the minutes. He's still playing 32, 34 minutes, but he's just not been very productive. The price has come down, though, to 7,700. The matchup is good. I know he wasn't great when these teams played on Friday, but I think this is a spot where you can maybe buy low on Porzingis. He's someone you could definitely look to, but my main target on Dallas is definitely Luka. I'm not playing anyone else, though. Tim Hardaway had a big game last game, but he should move back to the bench now that Dorian Finney-Smith is able to play, so I don't really have much interest in Tim Hardaway. I think that does it for the Mavs. We can talk about this Blazers team now. So looking at the Blazers today, you got Damian Lillard at 10,500. Again, on this slate, give me Harden, give me Westbrook, give me Luka, give me those guys over Lillard. Lillard, I'm just a bit hesitant to pay this price tag for him with CJ McCollum back. We've seen Lillard kind of come back down to earth these last 2 games, 43 and 45 DK points and 38 and 34 minutes. Like, he just doesn't get as much usage with McCollum on the floor. I don't think I need to pay 10.5 for Lillard. I think we're going to see his price continue to come down. He's going to be, probably in that 9K range sooner rather than later. I feel like we're basically overpaying for Damian Lillard at this point. Now, CJ McCollum at 7,300, we could maybe look to. He actually had a really good game last game against Dallas. Finally looked good after 2 pretty bad games since coming back from injury. Had 46 DK points in only 28 minutes. The minutes haven't been as high as I would like, but I would assume that we probably get, probably around 30 minutes from CJ McCollum here, given he played 28 last game. He's probably going to play like 30, 32. 7,300, that is pretty cheap for CJ McCollum. We saw most of the, year he was being priced around that 8K range. Even in we saw him get close to 9K at some points. He's definitely underpriced at this point. It's just, he's underpriced because he's coming back from injury. His minutes have been limited, but he was at least really good last game. He got up to 28 minutes. I think you can definitely play CJ McCollum on this slate. He should be super low owned. He is someone I do have some interest in, but I'm not playing anyone else from Portland. I think it's really CJ McCollum for me as a lower owned play. I don't see too much I like on this Portland team overall. So we can go ahead and talk about the last game of the night, the Lakers and the Suns. So in my opinion, I think this is the most appealing game on the slate, mainly just on the Lakers side because their 2 stars are going to be out today. LeBron, he got injured in Saturday's game against the Hawks, and he's going to be out for a while, or at least he's going to be out indefinitely. So LeBron's going to be out today. We know Anthony Davis remains out. Obviously, Marc Gasol, Jared Dudley are also out. But the big ones here, the 2 stars are going to be out, LeBron and AD. So that just opens up a ton of usage. There's a lot to like on this Lakers team. I think Dennis Schroeder, 6,900. I still do have interest in, even at this price point. I think we have seen one game this season where both LeBron and AD was out, and it was on March the 3rd against Sacramento. That was a day where both LeBron and AD did not play. Dennis Schroeder in that game, 46 DK points in 34 minutes, took 20 shots, just got a ton of usage, and we should expect that tonight. Against the Suns team, should expect a ton of usage for Schroeder. Without LeBron, he's obviously going to be the primary ball handler, so really do like Dennis Schroeder, even at $6,900. His price tag, though, on Yahoo barely went up. He's still very affordable on Yahoo, only $21. I think Dennis Schroeder, he looks like a top play on Yahoo at that price point. He's obviously a huge beneficiary with no LeBron here. And then Kyle Kuzma, $6,600. I rarely play Kyle Kuzma. I haven't played him much this season, but with no LeBron, with no AD, Kyle Kuzma is another big beneficiary. I know he was bad in Saturday's game against Atlanta, but I don't want to look too much into that. Kuzma has been productive this year with those two guys off the floor. He has averaged about a fantasy point per minute, and we also saw him have a very big game against Sacramento when they played March 3rd. 34 minutes, 20 shots for Kuzma, 49 DK points, had a very productive game. $6,600, I still like Kuzma even at this price point. He's someone I'm definitely going to be looking to. Again, on Yahoo, the price tag did not move, only $19. I think Kuzma looks like a top play, top power forward option overall. On Yahoo, I am assuming that he most likely will start for LeBron, and they're going to start Schroeder, KCP, Kuzma, Morris, and Damian Jones. I'm assuming that's going to be the Lakers starting lineup, but we'll need to keep an eye on it. Montrezl Harrell, just another guy. Without LeBron, I think he gets a nice bump as well. He was very productive in Saturday's game against Atlanta. He was also productive in that game against Sacramento on March 3rd when both LeBron and AD were out. 33 minutes from Montrezl Harrell, 45 DK points. I'm pretty sure him, or I can't remember if it's either him or THT, actually leads the team in usage with LeBron and AD off the floor this year. We should expect another good game from Montrezl Harrell. Even though he comes off the bench, he's still going to play it over 30 minutes. Should be very productive when he's on the floor. Love Montrezl Harrell on both sides. $6,500 on DK. It does feel a little bit too cheap for sure. And on Yahoo at $25, I think he's one of the top center plays overall on Yahoo. So really do like Montrezl Harrell. And then THT, $4,200. He's someone I'm also going to be looking to. He played 21 minutes in Saturday's game against Atlanta. He wasn't that productive, only 20 DK points. And when they did play Sacramento on March 3rd, when LeBron was out and AD was out, then we only did get 19 minutes from THT, which was a little bit, concerning. I was expecting going into that game that THT would play like 24, 25 minutes, but he only played 19. I'm still willing to take a shot on him, though, because Horton Tucker is a very productive player when he does get minutes. I'm pretty sure, like I said earlier, it's either him or Harrell that leads the team in usage with LeBron off the floor this year. He's averaged over a fantasy point per minute. My best guess is we probably get like 22, 24 minutes from Horton Tucker, but he could definitely play more, especially if he is playing well. We've seen him get 26, 28 minutes at times. He could definitely get there if he's playing well off the bench. At $4,200, he's still cheap in my opinion, still cheap enough to where I think he is a really good value play on this slate. He's another big beneficiary with LeBron out, and he's also a guy I'm going to be looking to on Yahoo. Super cheap over there, only $11 at small forward. Really do like THT on Yahoo as well, and I'm fine playing 4 Lakers on Yahoo. I think they're all just so affordable that you can definitely play 3 to 4 of these guys, and it makes plenty of sense. You could also do it on DK as well. The Lakers are just going to be a team I have a lot of exposure to. With them missing their 2 highest usage players, there's so many guys that are going to benefit and so many viable plays that open up from this Lakers team. Now, Wesley Matthews, he's probably someone I'm not going to be playing. I don't think he's a guy I'm really going to look to. Just not a productive player, doesn't really benefit. Not going to be playing him. But Markieff Morris I actually do like for value at $3,900. He played 28 minutes in Saturday's game against Atlanta. I think he's another guy that benefits a little bit with LeBron out. We did see him play 30 minutes March 3rd against Sacramento when LeBron was out. He was solid with 23 DK points. Markieff Morris at this point is just not a guy that's going to go out there and put up like 40 fantasy points, but at $3,900, it's not like we need him to get 40 fantasy points. If he gets us 25, 30 DK points, that's really good for $3,900, and I expect him to probably get close to that. I would assume he probably projects for around 30 minutes and probably like 24 DK points today, which at $3,900 definitely makes him a good value on DK. He's another guy that I like from the Lakers today. You could play him on Yahoo as well. I don't think it's as necessary, though, just because all these other guys are so underpriced. You don't really need to punt with Markieff Morris, but if you want to, he's minimum salary. Another guy that you could definitely target, but I think that really does it for me. I'm probably not playing anyone else on the Lakers. KCP, I don't think he benefits too much. He's just not a productive player. Another kind of like Wesley Matthews, I don't think KCP is someone I really want to target even with LeBron out. Now Caruso, you would expect would benefit, but he just hasn't been getting many minutes. He probably plays like 22, 24 minutes. I guess He's another punt guy you could target, but I'm not very confident in Caruso at this point just because the minutes haven't been as high as I would like. Plus, he's not really a productive player when he's on the floor. He's not a guy that's going to do much when he's on the floor. I think my main targets from the Lakers, if I had to rank them, factoring in price, it would probably be Harrell number 1, THT number 2, Schroeder number 3, Kuzma number 4, but all 4 of those guys, or Morris number 5, so I would probably put Morris like ahead of Kuzma because Morris is so cheap. So really, I mean, Schroeder, Kuzma, Harrell, THT, Morris, I think all 5 of those guys are really good plays today. Would I play all 5 of those guys in one lineup? Probably not, but definitely 3 to 4 makes plenty of sense in my opinion. This Lakers team, going to be a team I'm very heavy on today. It's going to be hard to really get away from these guys. With no LeBron, with no AD, just so much usage, so much opportunity to go around, and I do expect there to be a lot of beneficiaries, mainly the 5 guys we targeted, or we talked about. Those are going to be the 5 I'm looking to target here. So yeah, really like this Lakers team, ton to talk about there. On the Phoenix side, not as much to talk about here. I don't see too much I like on the Suns today. Devin Booker and Chris Paul as lower-owned tournament plays I think makes some sense, especially, if you're playing a lot of Lakers in one lineup. I guess you could run it back with one of these Suns guys, but I'm not going to be playing too much on Phoenix. DeAndre Ayton feels, cheap at $6K, but his minutes have just been all over the place. He was in foul trouble last game, only played 18 minutes. I'd rather play Montrezl Harrell for just a little bit more salary. I just don't want to play DeAndre Ayton. I don't want to take that risk. I'm not going to really be playing any Suns today. If I was going to play any Suns, it would be Booker and Paul. But in my opinion, there's just other plays I prefer in their price range. So really this game, it's just all the Lakers for me. The Lakers are going to be a team I really focus on, and I'm going to have a lot of Lakers in my lineups tonight for sure. So I think that does it for all 6 games tonight, guys. I think we broke everything down, talked about everything. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button as well. Be sure to click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload, and you also get notified every time I do go live. Now, not sure yet if I'll be live streaming this afternoon. Just keep an eye on my YouTube channel. Might go live around 4 Eastern time. I will have to wait and see. But anyways, best of luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you did enjoy. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.